Hey there, it's James here from Vid1 Marketing, and thanks for watching this video. Over the course of the next 3 to 4 videos, I'm going to be talking about some very basic but super effective principles for online personal trainers. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to effectively go from scratch to running a business that has 20 clients within the first month. Now, in this video today, I'm going to talk about the 2 things you need to master. And it's only 2 things, realistically, and it's not what you think. It's not, marketing, and it's not sales, even though those 2 things are incredibly important. I'm going to break it down a level from that and show 2 things that fundamentally are fairly theoretical, but I'm going to give you practical examples of how you can master both of these things to get a better understanding of your market and the numbers behind your marketing to make sure that you can generate the leads and the sales profitably and launch your online business fast. Now, before I get into all this, I want to just quickly explain who I am and more importantly, why you should listen to me, why I'm qualified to speak about this. So as I said, my name's James Hepburn, and in this year alone, I've spent over $200,000 on Facebook ads, helping coaches, including online personal trainers, as well as coaches in other niches, to generate leads profitably from Facebook and then convert them into high-paying clients. So the principles I'm going to take you through today are essentially what I've been teaching people and showing people how to use throughout this year and throughout many years before that. Now, here's the 2 things. It's very, very simple. The first thing that you need to master is the maths, and that's the maths behind your business. I'm going to break down all of the numbers so you can see exactly what I mean. The second thing that you need to be 100% across is the psychology. Now, what I mean by that is the psychology of your market. I'm not going to talk too much about market and niche and avatar and those sort of things today, even though that's super important, but that's what the psychology is about. It's about understanding the person that you're targeting on a level deeper than they know themselves. Because see guys, marketing essentially is just maths and psychology. If you put the right offer that these people want, based on what you know about them psychologically, and you have the right numbers to go with that offer, you literally can't fail. It's that simple. So let me give you an example. I'm going to actually start with psychology first, even though it's the second thing listed. The reason I'm going to start with that first is because the market, and more importantly the person that you serve, is the most important part of any business and any marketing campaign. So when it comes to understanding the psychology of your market, there's a few things you need to know. The first thing is the demographics. So the demographics are simple. It's things like age, gender, sex, religion, location, political views. Like physically, what do they look like? Where do they live? Who do they associate with? Who are they friends with? What are their beliefs? Well, actually, no, not what are their beliefs. But what magazines do they read? What TV shows do they watch? Who do they idolize? They're the demographics of your market. So take, for example, when you're starting your online personal training business, I always recommend that people pick a very fine market niche segment. So in this case, I'm going to talk about women that have just come back from, say, their first child or just come back from giving birth, and they want to get back into the shape they were in before they gave birth. So that woman's going to be, roughly speaking, she's going to be 28 to 38, female. Because you're online, you're probably going to restrict your clients by country. Obviously, from the sound of my voice, Australia. And then you're going to go through and deeply get to know that person. She might like watching The Biggest Loser. She might be a fan of certain people in the fitness industry, although if she's looking to improve herself, she probably isn't necessarily a massive fan of those people, but she could associate with them. You want to think about the magazines they read, where do they hang out, if they're parents, are they part of a mother's group? Anything you can get to really clearly define demographically what that person looks like is super important. The next thing, and in some ways more important, is the psychographics. Now the psychographics are mentally, what are their beliefs? What are their values? What are their frustrations, their fears? What are they ashamed about? What do they feel guilty about? You need to go through a process of questions. So the main ones here is guilt, because these are emotional factors that influence their decision making. Guilt, shame, fear, and desire. They're the main 4 that I go through. This obviously being what they want, these who or what they want to avoid. So say it's a woman, she might feel guilty about how her body looks now compared to how she looked 5 years ago, or even 2 years ago in that case. She might be ashamed of how she feels in front of her partner. Now, obviously, these are very, very powerful emotional drivers that you want to be careful about how you use them in your marketing, but this essentially comes down to understanding your market. Who's she afraid of? Is she afraid of her mother, her mother-in-law, her friends? What society thinks of her? And what does she desire? How does she desire to look, to feel? What sort of role model does she want to be for her kids? So that's an example of how you define the psychology of your market. And having a very, very strict understanding of exactly who that person is the best way to gain traction in your business fast. So I'm going to draw a very, very terrible image here. But as an example, you would draw a picture, you would get the colour of their hair, everything you can get about them. Now, obviously, in some cases, it's going to be a little bit broader, but you want to make sure you ask yourself these questions about their psychographics. Get clear on their demographics. Get a picture for how this person looks so that when you go to approach your marketing, you know exactly who you're talking to. That's the first part, which is psychology. The second part is the maths. Now, the maths, I love maths. I have from an engineering background, so the numbers make perfect sense here, and I'm going to walk you straight through it. Now, I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, so if you've got any questions, just drop a comment below, shoot me a message, and I'll be happy to answer it for you. But essentially, the maths is about making your marketing work. When you go to spend money or provide an ad budget towards the marketing of your business, you want to know exactly how the numbers are going to break down and the metrics you need to track at every point throughout the process. So, in the next video, I'm going to talk about the perfect type of marketing campaign that literally any online training business needs. It's very simple, very straightforward, but it's the first funnel you should focus on. I won't go into the details of it now, but essentially this is how your maths need to work behind your business. So let's say, for example, to start out, you want to sell a 12-week program. I would recommend going for longer than that, but most of the online trainers I speak to are at a point where they're doing 12-week programs, so I'm going to stick with that just from a point of familiarity. As far as the price point goes, you can sell this program anywhere between $57 and $97 a week. Again, I'll talk more about programs and that sort of thing in a later video, but these are typical price points. For the sake of the maths that I'm going to do here, we're going to work on the middle point, which is $77 a week. Now, I've worked with people who've sold both and at both price points and done well effectively, but this is just the numbers we're going to work with for now. So it's $77 a week. So here's the thing. If you make an offer through Facebook and you drive 1,000 people to your offer, to your landing page or to your website where they can view that offer, the maths look like this. Hang on, I'm just going to rub out. If you've got 1,000 visitors to your page, now typically on the type of funnel I'm going to cover in the next video, 10% of people will convert from seeing the type of offer that you would be presenting here to they would convert to the next stage and become a lead. So if 10% of those people convert on the offer that you make on this page, you're now going to have 100 leads. Now these would be people who have applied to work with you in a program, and they would be, so they're not going to be the most qualified leads because it's coming straight from cold traffic, but it is going to help you to get the traction and get your first 20 clients, which is exactly what I want to show you how to do. So 10% convert, you've now got 100 leads. Now, not all of these leads are going to be suitable. You're going to ring through these leads and you're going to be attempting to book them in for a consultation session where you can take them through your program. Now, this sales process that I'm going through is quite in depth, so I'm not going to go through the detail now, but typically if you had about 100 leads, what I've seen from my clients, you would book in about 50 of them for a call, right? So 50% booking would then be 50 calls. So out of those 50 sales calls you make, it really depends on how good you are at sales. You should be able to get to a point where you can close at least 50 to 60%. But let's say you're starting out and let's say you close 1 in 5 people into your program. You're going to make 10 sales. 20% of people, 20% of people you close. So a close rate of 20%. You're going to make 10 sales. Now this is going to be a 12-week program, which is $77 a week. And you've made 10 sales from your 1,000 visitors. Now the reason I'm demonstrating this, I'm not going to go in and calculate, you can do the calculation if you want about how much money that would be per week. You know, it's going to be $770 for 12 weeks and you've got your first 10 clients. Typically speaking, with a funnel like this, you would pay about $10 a lead, which I'll cover in the next video. And so, you know, you would end up paying $10 a lead, about $1 a click. You'd spend about $1,000 on ads, and you would make, you know, immediately with your first 10 sales, you'd nearly make that back. In the second week, you would start to be profitable over the course of that program. So, as you can see, knowing these numbers is critical. Like I said, they're the two things you need to master, maths and psychology, because once you know all of these numbers throughout your marketing process, when you're going out and doing your marketing as an online trainer, you can calculate every step and figure out, all right, if I benchmark off these numbers here, where are the holes in my process? Oh, hang on, I'm only converting 5% of leads. There must be something wrong with my landing page. Or, you know, I'm booking 80% of people. Oh, that's awesome. Now I should be able to make more sales. Oh, hang on, I'm only booking 30%. What's wrong with the leads I'm generating? How can I boost that? Oh, my close rate's down a bit. How can I improve that? By having this kind of dedicated tracking in your online training business and knowing the maths, you can basically figure out where the bottlenecks are, where the problems are, and where the things you need to improve are in your process so that you've got a full metric tracking so that you can massively improve and grow your business much quicker. So guys, that's all for this video. Keep an eye out. The next video will be coming out in the next few days. Like I said, they're the two things you need to massively be across. We covered a lot here. I'm going to go into these in much more detail in later videos. But if you get maths and psychology right in your online training business, you literally can't fail. So I hope you enjoyed that one, guys. And I'll catch you soon. Cheers.